Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality to make real change in the world. This is Coach King. So I just wanted to just start this off by there's been a series of this awareness that happens. We're dealing with becoming change. We're becoming this person, and we've made a decision that we need to change. But in order to do that, it comes with this sense of awareness that has to happen. I've been listening to the audiobook, The Power of Now, just to awaken awareness spiritually, right? Being more conscious of now and what now really means. So if you haven't read that book, there's a strong recommendation for me to pick it up. Just listen to it. It might be mind blowing. It might be over your head. But if it is, and if it isn't, I'm sorry ahead of time. But I would love to, you know, for you to actually just kind of lean into it. Get it on audiobook because there's like some tings in there. You can kind of meditate on just kind of what's being said, you know. It's not a substitute for the Bible, but it is an addition to get you to an upper brain of thought. An upper brain of thought is a more productive mind. So the idea is to fill your brain subconsciously with things that produce better thinking, which produces a higher capacity to learn. Therefore, you are more apt to elicit more productivity in your actions, right? You sustain productivity for longer periods of time. It increases mental focus and clarity, those type of things. So just being mindful of now is important, especially now that I'm talking about this thing called awareness. Awareness is the spark to innovation. But if you want to go back and just simply watch that video, it's really informative. Okay. So today, however, we're going to be talking about development. And after awareness, development happens. Okay. There's a development that you go through, and growth requires intention, not pressure. Okay. Like I said before, I don't grow well with competition. I'm not competing with anybody. I don't need to compare myself to anyone. But I do require intention, and that's what awareness brings in your life. Okay. So why awareness alone is not enough? Let's get into it. Why is awareness by itself? It's okay, I'm aware, but it's not enough to sustain your life. It's because awareness changes what you see. So awareness changes what you see. Okay. And what you see matters. Okay. What you see matters. All right. But development changes who you become. So we're becoming someone when we become aware. So now that you're aware, now it's time to become. A lot of people have moments of this crystal clear clarity in their lives, right? They recognize the pattern of their lives. They recognize the things where they're misaligned, and they're able to identify it, and they name all of these things that are wrong. But then nothing changes in their lives. Not because they didn't see anything clearly, not because they weren't aware, but because they didn't grow with intentionality, right? When you're aware, it reveals a truth inside of you. You become aware of a truth, right? And if awareness is the first action of innovation, then development is the first act of obedience. Okay. So now you become aware, but you have to be obedient. You got to be able to move when it's time to move. Okay. Development in the idea cycle. Okay. The idea cycle is a cycle of innovation, development, education, administration. Okay. Awareness initiates innovation, right? So it's the spark. But innovation without development becomes inspiration without the embodiment of it, right? It's just inspiration. Oh, that's nice. It's like a scrolling on social media. Unfortunately, it's probably what you're going to do this video, right? You're probably going to get inspired and be like, all right. But if you really lean into what I'm saying and develop yourself with intention, you will become. Okay. Development answers a different question, though. Okay. Awareness asks, what's true? What can I change? Right? Development asks, who must I become to steward the truth that I now have come into? Right? Who have I become to steward the truth that I now know? Okay. Development is not just self-improvement. And it's not just self-improvement of who you are and your image and how you see yourself and all of that stuff. Development is capacity building for calling. Okay. And we use this word calling. Calling. What is purpose? It's the capacity building for your gifts, for your purpose, for what it is that you have been given the talent for, right? It's a God-given ability. What capacity building? You can also look at it as leadership. Okay. So scripture frames this for us clearly. So James 1:4 says, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So I say it again, James 1:4, let perseverance finish its work. Perseverance, pursuing something passionately, knowing what the calling is, that perseverance, let it finish its work. So as you pursue, let it do what it's going to do. Okay. So that you may be mature and complete. It's talking about the becoming of self, right? So you want a mature and complete person. It says Jesus grew in stature, right? Right? He grew in stature. Okay, he became mature, knowledge and stature and age and all of that stuff. He matured, right? Not lacking anything. So it's important to understand that your development, your growth is not rushed. You can't skip from point. You can't, when you sing the ABCs correctly, you can't go from A to Z. You got to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm not going to sing the whole thing. You can't rush it. You go through this process. The process is beautiful, right? Growth is not rushed. It's finished. Okay? It's a finished work. So what is development really? Okay? Development is intentional cultivation of your character, your competence, and your consistency. I'll say that again. Development is, and this is Coach King's definitions, right, of character, competence, and consistency. Your character is you. It's how you see you and how others see you and how you make decisions and your values. Everything you're rooted and foundational on, that is your character. It's the content of your character. The measure of a man is not where he stands in time of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in time of trial. That is the character of a man. Thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay? So, competence. What do you know? Intentionally working on foundational values. For me, that's why I stay in going to church, right? To have a spiritual wellness about myself, right? You know, character building things, being able to receive feedback, positive or negative, being able to handle criticism, right? It speaks volume to your character when your character is in question, right? If your character is in question, you probably made a decision that made whoever is evaluating you think about that. Okay. They're pondering, they're in contemplation about you based on the decisions that you made, right? And as leaders, we question character in some individuals, like integrity, right? Are you lying to me? Are you being honest? What happened? What happened to the situation? Okay, tell me more. Expound upon that, right? The next C is competence. Are you competent? And if you lack competency, find it. How do you find it? You go and you educate yourself on that topic. And even if you're in a role of leadership, you should definitely go and seek that. You're expected to have all three of these C's at a high level if you're going to be leading others, because the people following you see that in you. Okay? They expect that level in you. They expect to see that. And if they don't, they won't follow. Okay? There's a level of consistency that has to happen as well. Okay? Development is intentional. Remember this. But there has to be a level of consistency. Consistency is thriving towards the same thing, constant. It's perpetual. They have to be able to see a predictable pattern in your life, right? You have to develop systems to produce this level of consistency. And as we get more mature, this consistency that we create becomes more efficient. You could save yourself a lot of time being consistent if you get what I'm putting down, right? You can save yourself a lot of energy putting systems of consistency in place. Okay? A lot of us call it routine, right? Rhythms, right? Showing up on time. Consistency can be seen as a value, which also integrates into your character. Okay. But it's a repeatable pattern over a duration of time longer than 6 months. Right? Can you do it for a year? If you can do it for a year, can you do it for 2? If you can do it for 2, can you do it for 3? Can you be consistent enough for the rest of your life? I don't know about you, but I want to cultivate with intention for the rest of my life. I've never arrived. I'm becoming. And just so you know, that this particular development is really just not pressure. You're not supposed to feel pressure when you're developing. Now, pressure is going to happen, but development at its core is not pressure. Okay? You have to change the way you see yourself being developed. I know in past videos I said development is painful. It is, because I saw development as pressure. Okay? I had to reframe the way I thought about pressure. Okay? I had to reframe that in my mind so that when I'm being developed, I don't see it as pressure. I just see it as me being developed. It's an intentional cultivation of an area or aspect that I'm lacking or that I need to grow in, right? So if I need to grow in this area, it's not pressure. It's just a reality. Me being able to handle the truth about myself. So I challenge you to be able to handle the truth about yourself. Okay. Also, development is not comparing yourself to anybody else. Your cultivation, your developmental journey is yours. Own it. Be honest with the areas in your life that you need to change. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. For example, everybody's buying houses. Doesn't mean I need to buy a house. Don't just jump on the bandwagon. Don't keep up with the Joneses because you're still trying to save money while they've already established the money. They're ready to buy a house. You're not. That's just an example. Don't compare yourself if you're single to married people. That's not how that works. They're married. They have their own intentional cultivation of their marriage. You just need to cultivate yourself in your singleness. So it is about focus. Development is alignment over time. Okay. Like newborn infants long for pure spiritual milk, that by it you may grow. 1 Peter 2:2. This is why that scripture emphasizes process so heavily. Okay. Because development is alignment over time. So think a bit about it. Like babies, they long for milk. We, as newborn infants, people who are maybe born again or new to scripture, have never read it, don't really believe in it, but I'm kind of giving it a try. The reason why you're giving it a try is because you long for some spiritual awakening. Okay. So that you can grow spiritually. And your spirit is simply that thing inside of you that desires something better for your life. That's what that developmental spirit feels like. I need to do something better with my time. I need to do something different with my money. I need to, oh man, it's so development is alignment over time. You align yourself with, for me, God. I align myself with God. I become more spiritually aware, and I discipline myself to do so in a consistent. I read the Bible. That's my competency. My values speak to my character. So when I'm out in public, there's things that I just don't do. And those who know me, I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol. There's just things that I don't do. And that just speaks to who I am as a person. That's my character. Okay. All right. So growth requires nourishment. So in order to grow, you need to nourish. Go back and watch the D in development. There's 4 aspects. There's personal, social, technological, and economic. Okay. And I said them out of order, but still, those are those aspects of development. I have, long form videos that you can watch. Check them out so that you understand that growth requires nourishment. And in growth, you have to eliminate the shame of growth. Like I said, I used an example of a person who had an addiction. It would hurt to try to cultivate and try to get rid of your addictions, because with that comes a bunch of shame. When you look yourself in the mirror, like, who am I and what have I become? Have you ever looked at people who are on drugs, like the before and after pictures, before drugs and after drugs? They just look like 2 different people. Okay. And I can't imagine being the person in the picture and trying to become the person that I was before, but I'll never get that back. And when I look at who I was, I'll be the shame of that over that time, and that process is what I'm talking about. But growth requires nourishment. So during that process, a lot of it is dealing with the mental shame of what choices you made. Okay. Awareness without development just creates frustration, because when you grow, that shame, that awareness can cause shame, but sometimes, right? So we can't just sit in just being aware, because being aware can take you down a rabbit hole that you may not come back from. Think about it. When you think about all of the children that suffer from knowledge about their parents, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know mom and dad were like that. They never come back because they don't develop a consistency or align themselves with a better sense of truth over the time. And that's not even my scope. You'd have to talk to counselors. So if you're a counselor out there, I want to know this kind of stuff, right? Teach me. All right. So development without awareness also creates performance. Okay. When you aren't aware of now, you are more apt to perform, and people can see the performance. It's just an act, brother. You're consciously making a decision with no subconscious like fruit. There's no roots in you. Okay. You're a great performer, but do you really live this thing? Do you have experience in this? There's no wisdom behind it. It just creates performances. I'm growing, but I'm performing. The dog and pony show, right? Deep down inside, you feel like a failure. Be the whale, not the fish. If you're the whale, be the whale. Okay? You can't be the whale thinking that you're the fish. That's what this is. Right? You're really a fish. You think that you're a whale. That's the other way around too. Okay? So you develop into this whale, but deep down, you're not even aware that you're a fish. So be a fish, right? If you're a whale, be a whale. If not, it's just performance. So when you have awareness and development, though, together, you're aware and you develop. You have the spark and you're ready to be obedient. That's when transformation can really take place in your life. That's when you become someone, something new, right? You create something new. You transform. Okay? And this is transformational leadership. Okay? So how does development really take place? And this is there is four things that happen. Okay? True development takes shape because it requires patience. That's the first thing. Okay? There's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Timing, right? You cannot accelerate your maturation process. You cannot accelerate maturity at all. Growth happens in seasons, not sprints. So to develop, it requires patience. You won't get there in haste because there's a time for everything in every season and activity under the heaven. Okay. Development also requires practice. So you must practice. We talking about practice. We didn't even talk about a game. We talking about practice. Yes, we're talking about practice. Insight. Any insight that you gain in development, it requires you to become the insight first. So you have to practice it. You have to study it. Meditate on these things day and night, right? Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and forgets. That's James 1:23 and 24. Awareness is the mirror and development is the practice. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget what you look like. Don't forget the word that you hear. Don't forget. And how do you not forget? The only way not to forget is to practice it. So look in the mirror. Study yourself. Oh, I got a pimple on my left cheek. Oh, excuse me. Right here, right? My left cheek. Oh, why are my eyebrows looking? My teeth are little. You know what I'm saying? Like, practice it. Practice your speeches if you're speakers. Practice, what you're going to say. Rehearse it. That's something that we teach in corporate leadership. Practice these methods. They send you to developmental training for you to practice. It's a battleground. It's a practice ground for when you get in the real thing, because the real thing is unscripted. There is no scripts. And you can't control how people react. You might get punched in the face. God forbid. But you don't know what person's going to do. Okay. So you have to practice these skill sets in order to develop. Okay. Next is support. Development requires support. Okay. Growth was never meant for us to be isolated. You can't grow isolated. You need water and sunlight and soil and all this kind of stuff. If you sit up in your house, you're not growing. You think you may be growing. Oh, these podcasts are helping. One thing, you might be able to gain knowledge, but knowledge without application is foolishness. So in order to apply it, you need a support system so that you can bounce ideas off of, because you can't grow isolated. Even though you sit in your house and you might be an introvert, you're still calling mom and dad or a trusted friend. You got one person you're talking to. There's somebody out there for you. There's somebody. With the hermit crab, oh my gosh, in fifth elementary school, we had hermit crabs. We were desperate to see that thing come out the shell. When it came out the shell, you're like, yeah, the crab came out. It was done being a hermit, and it started moving. That's the only time the hermit crab left. So we were sitting there looking like, is it gonna go anywhere? Mine died, by the way. So morbid. But growth is never meant to be in isolation. That's why the Bible in Proverbs 27:17 say, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You grow faster in a community than in isolation. So if you do want to speed up your growth, incremental growth happens. You're going to grow regardless. You're going to grow old and do nothing, like the hermit who died. Or you can grow faster with community, because what happens is a perspective shift happens in community. And people, you might meet somebody that's doing the thing that you're trying to do or that you desire. And you're like, man, I didn't know I desired that. Because as iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. So imagine what thousands of people in a room can do for each other. What can a community do? It grows together. Okay. That's the economic development piece. Go watch the video. Okay. Development also requires grace. I like to say grace is gift. Thank you, Myron Golden, for that. You will stumble. You will stumble while growing. That's just the growing pains. I did a video on growing pains. There's a stumbling that takes place. Okay. We all stumble. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, right? We are not perfect people. You've heard these cliches before. I'm not perfect, right? He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. That means he who began a good work in you, that means God is obligated to carry it on to completion because you began a good work. All right. So you have God on your side. The grace that God gives you is on your side. That's a gift. He's going to help you complete it because he believes it's already done. As soon as you set your mind to it, God says it's finished because it's growth. And he's graced that to you. He's given that to you, right? I give you grace to complete this work, Michael, the idea of change. Development is sustained by faith, not fear. And our faith is to understand that God understands. God knows, and God, he's faithful to perform it, which means he who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. He's going to carry it. The burden that you're feeling, the weight, God will carry that burden for you. So development requires grace, okay? And it sustains. This is administration talking. It's sustainable. You could sustain development by faith, not fear. Okay? What do you believe? What do you believe? Not predict. I believe that so and so and so. I believe that these self-evidence are true. Declarations, Dr. Martin. Okay. So awareness says this needs to change. And this is how we go from seeing to becoming. Awareness says this needs to change. Or we ask the question, what do I need to change? Right. And then we answer that. That's awareness. Development, however, says I'm willing to grow into what this requires. And you know what? What keeps us from becoming is we're not willing. We're not willing to go through the developmental piece. We're not willing to let go and let God. We're not willing to let go and let the person that God has put in your life, aka your mentor, a leader, somebody who knows that their calling is that. You're not letting them help you. You're not letting people help you. You want to do all this by yourself, right? Let them help you. You don't grow by force. You can't force growth. You can't. You can't force it. You can't force a girl to like you. You can't force a girl to come see you. You can't force it. Don't force the relationship to grow, right? It only can grow by faithfulness, believing in it. Oh, I believe in this. So if you believe in it, you have to develop through patience, right? Go back. Practicing. So talking to the person, right? Through their support, you develop each other. And with the grace of God, God will make the relationship grow. That's just relationships. I mean, this is the ideal cycle. Everything builds upon itself in a cycle. It's a full circle moment. You grow by faithfulness, not force. One practice at a time. One discipline at a time. One obedience step at a time. That's how we go from seeing to becoming. One practice at a time. One discipline at a time, and one obedient step. So it's an intentional step. So if awareness opens the eyes, let development shape your life. Because real change, the change that you and I are trying to make, doesn't happen all at once. It happens every single day. All right? Just remember, change happens daily. The change that you want, okay? It happens every day, and you have opportunities. Pay attention to those opportunities. Become aware of those opportunities. Be obedient in the direction you want to go, and you'll get there, okay? I have faith that we can do this together, all right? So anyway, subscribe if you are looking for more of these grounded type teachings. And I'm teaching on growth, leadership, and ultimately becoming in this year, okay? If I'm teaching it, great. If I'm inspiring you, great. But my intention is to ultimately help you understand. Okay. All right. That's it. Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality. Make real change in the world. Peace out.